All right, my suggestion is you read the question, so pause the video and read. In this question, we have a table of values that represents the rental charges for a bicycle, and it says it's $2 per hour, so we can see the time and the price. Which type of function models the price for renting one bicycle as a function of time? So first thing we want to notice is that as we go down the list of prices, we are increasing. Okay, so they're definitely increasing as we go down the list of prices. So we're going to mark off B and we're going to mark off D. Then we have to decide between linear and exponential. So when we have a linear function and it's increasing, we're going to be adding the same number as we increase. If we are having an exponential function and we're increasing, we're going to be multiplying by the same number as we go down our list. So as we move from 2 to 4, we can see that we're either adding 2 or we're maybe multiplying by 2. As we move from 4 to 6, we can see we're adding 2 again. We are definitely not multiplying by 2 because this would be an 8 if we were multiplying by 2. So multiplying is not going to work for the next number in the pattern. So then it would work if we added 2 every time. So we are doing choice A. So super important to remember that linear goes with adding and exponential goes with multiplying. And it's important to check more than one set of numbers, because you could see from that first set from 2 to 4, we couldn't tell if we were adding or multiplying. You got to check a couple of them. Okay, number 31. Number 31, again, pause the video, read the question. Okay, an artist earns profit from selling Y painting. His profit in dollars is modeled with the given equation. So this P is standing for profit. His profits is the difference in the amount of money he earns from selling his painting and the cost of making the paintings. Which expression represents the cost? So if you thought about making money, right, my profit, your profit is what you took in, like how much you sold, right? So amount of money he earns selling, so this is our sales, minus the cost it took you to make those items that you sold. So it's the sales minus the cost. Okay, this keyword difference here told us we were subtracting. They gave us the equation already, so we just have to be able to label the parts correctly. Which expression represents the cost? The cost is the part we're subtracting here. So our cost is B, the 10.53 times Y. All right, number 32. You can pause the video and read it. Good news here is that even if you read all that stuff, it told you exactly what to do right here. It says solve for V in terms of D and R, and it gives you a hint right here that V is supposed to be by itself. Right now, V is being multiplied by R. We have to think about doing opposites. So if V is being multiplied by R, the opposite of multiply is divide. So now we divide by R. That allows V to be by itself. When you have to enter this on the EOC, you want to look for your fraction button. You're going to push that first, and it's going to give you a fraction bar, and it's going to give you a space to type something in the top and something in the bottom. Okay, so we would just type in our response like that. Number 33, we have another word problem here. You can go ahead and read that word problem. Okay, essentially we have an absolute value equation that we have to solve. Okay, so x minus 32 is inside the absolute value bars. When you have absolute value, you have to remember that means you need two equations set up. Your absolute value bars should be by themselves, and then that's when you make your two equations. Okay, so in this situation, your first equation looks exactly like what you have, you just remove the bars. Your second equation, you remove the bars, put your equal sign, and now you change the sign of whatever's on the other side. Because this is saying whatever is inside this is going to give you an absolute value of 11. This value could either be positive 11 or this value could be negative 11 because those absolute values both equal 11. We solve these equations with the same steps. So we add 32 on both sides. When we add 32 for the first one, we get 43. When we add 32 for the second one, we get 21. This question wants both answers. It does not matter which order you put them in. You could put 43 and 21 or 21 and 43. It will take it either way, but they want both solutions here. Something to keep in mind is that if you had an absolute value equation, and let's say it said something like this, the absolute value was not by itself, you have to get the absolute value by itself before you make your two equations. So this would be that x equals 8 and x equals negative 8. You can't make your two equations until the absolute value piece is alone. Okay, that's super important. Number 34. If you want to pause the video and read it to yourself, you can do that. Okay. This question is asking us to compare the slopes and the y-intercepts of the two functions. This is, I don't even know how many questions we've done on slope-intercept form, but it keeps coming up. It is super important. Okay, so think about slope-intercept form. In this problem, our slope is 2, our y-intercept is negative 1. Okay, remember your y-intercept is the b part. In this question, we're not given an equation, or sorry, in this table, we're not given an equation. But if you remember that y-intercept, think about your graph, y-intercept is something where your graph touches this line, where it crosses this line. Every single point on this line has an x value of 0. So your y-intercept in a table is always where your x value is 0. So this is our y-intercept. Now your slope, you have to know your slope formula. Okay, your slope formula, you can use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And with this situation, you can pick any of these points to call 1 and 2. If I called this x1, y1, x2, y2, I would set this up as 10 minus 4 over 2 minus 1. So 10 minus 4 gives me 6, 2 minus 1 is 1, so my slope is 6. And now they're asking us to compare. So for this question, we need to decide which slope is bigger and which y-intercept is bigger. So if I look at the slopes, R has a bigger slope. If I look at the y-intercept, Q has a bigger y-intercept. Okay, so choice B says R has a lesser y-intercept, which is correct, and a slope that is 3 times the slope of function Q. Is 6 3 times 2? Yes, it is. Okay, so B is the correct choice. You can read through the other choices, but this is the only one that has the correct information.